Rebels with a Purpose, and I'm your talk show host, Terrence Perry. Glad you all are tuning in this afternoon and joining us. Also today, I have a interesting guest that I want you all to call in and ask any questions that you feel necessary. And I want you to call in on 919-518-9773. Our guest this evening is Frank Jordan, and he's the author of the new book entitled 500 Years of American Deception. I'm going to bring him on a little bit later, but before I do, I want to also mention we own NissanCommunications.com. You can also go to Nissan Communications channel, and we're live. You can go to, once you hit channel, you'll see Rebels with a Purpose. I'm not. How you doing this evening?
I'm fine, Terrence. You?
I'm great.
Did you get any comments on last week's show?
I did. I got quite a few comments on last week's show. I actually got some calls later, and actually I talked later with some of the guests, and that went well.
Good.
Yeah. So one of the things
I got nice comments about it.
You got some good ones.
Yes.
That's We did get some great comments throughout actually all week. Yeah, I've gotten comments. So one of the things that I want to do today is kind of before we get started into the show, I do want to as last week I sent my condolences out to the Muhammad Ali family. This week, of course, there was a shooting over the weekend. Are you familiar with the
isn't that a
down
shame?
in Orlando?
Isn't that a shame? Every week you have something like this too.
Yeah, I don't want to have to start off every week with my condolences to the loss of a family or a community, but this is what's happening in America today, and these are some of the issues that we'll be talking about on the show Rebels with a Purpose. And as I spoke last week, I was speaking about Muhammad Ali and not just about his passing, but his fight during the 60s and 70s, and what he stood for is actually personifies what Rebels with a Purpose is all about. Because Muhammad Ali's story is basically, it's my story, but it's also America's story. So in saying that, it was his stand that he took, even though he was the heavyweight champion of the world, he chose to step down from the heavyweight title just based on his belief and what he believed in. He felt strongly enough about it. He didn't, as I said last week, he didn't want to go and fight in a Vietnam War, in a war that, he said he didn't have no beef with those people. They weren't his oppressor. Why was he going to go thousands of miles and fight a people that wasn't fighting against him? He said if he was going to fight, his oppressor was right here in America. So that's where his fight would have been. He said, so, lock me up if you want to. And he stood on that premise. So today, again, I want to, we're going to talk about Frank Jordan's book, 500 Years of American Deception. And I want to welcome Frank to the show. And we're going to get started with some questions for him. But before I do, again, I want you to call in on 919-518-9773 with your questions, with your concerns, whatever. If you think you're a rebel with a purpose, call into the show. We want to talk to you. Frank, how you doing today?
I'm all right, Brother T. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I'm glad to have you on the show. I've been looking forward to just having this dialogue with you.
Absolutely.
I met you, I'm going to say at least 7 years ago, and I never knew you was an author. So finding out that you was an author was, and as I became an author myself, and that so we kind of ran into one another again.
Right.
And actually some of the stuff we were writing about was along the same line. But let me ask you, man, can you just share with the public what 500 Years of American Deception is about? But before you do, tell us a little bit about you and who Frank Jordan is.
Oh, absolutely. I would say maybe 25 to 30 years ago, probably at the age of maybe 19, goes even further back than that. I started my course of world history, and being that it may, world history It goes deeper than a lot of people think it is. Like I actually came to find out that one of the biggest overlooked Black world history books is the Bible, and it's not read or is not understood like a lot of people may think it is. And the deeper that I've actually went and studied and traveled, the more lies I found out. As far as like people were perpetrating. And that's what I wrote about in this particular book right here. I've been lecturing for almost 30 years, and one of the main things is that we have to get re-educated. Some of the falsehoods and the lies that has been told for more than 500 years. 500 years is just the amount of time that we've been over here in America, but it spans further back than that, like I stated in my book.
So, Frey, let me just kind of feed off of that a little bit from your book, 500 Years of American Deception, and I want to hold the book up, 500 Years of American Deception, but I want to also kind of go into, I want you to kind of go into detail a little bit about the first chapter and just in some of the other chapters in the book, what made you want to write about these particular subject matters when it comes to the deception. When you're talking about the deception in America, you're talking about the plight with the black man, the white man, and,
Right.
and just America's deception in general.
Right.
But give me some specifics, if you may, on some of the deception and lies that have been told that people just may not be aware of. And some may, but, let's go there. And again, if you have any questions, I want to call in. If you got any questions for Frank, myself, feel free to call at 919-518-9773. We want to hear from you today, so do give us a shout.
Well, it depends on how much time you have. It's just so
got
much,
plenty
but
of time.
it depends on how much time you got, because there's a lot of lies being spewed out here. But one of the things that that we stress most of all is that Christ, who the world calls Christ, his name in Hebrew is Yahushua, meaning he is the Savior. According to the Bible, according to history, according to facts, archaeological facts, he was a so-called black man according to the Bible. I have thousands of pictures. I put about maybe 20 pictures in my book proving that, from Rome all the way to Russia, proving that he was a so-called black man, and paintings and the pictures over in the churches that are still over there. And these pictures, Terrence, haven't been painted just yesterday, by the local author. These pictures have been over there for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Number two, one of the main things is that the so-called black man and woman over here in America, the people that was brought over here as slaves over here in America are the people of Christ, and they are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. The Vatican City knows it. World leaders knows it. The popes know it. The presidents of the United States, they know it. This is a worldwide kept secret, okay, that the blacks that was brought over here to America are not Africans. They're actually the people of Christ and the people of Solomon, according to history and according to the Bible.
Man, let me ask you this now. How has America been able to, deceive American, the American people like that for so long, for so many years? I mean, how have they kept that deception going, and how was it revealed to you in terms of how did you find out about it, and how can the public find out about that now? Because the stuff that you're saying, it have to be, we should be able to research it and find it just like you found it, and because it got to be, like I said, it have to be proved.
Right.
You're talking facts.
Absolutely.
So if you're talking facts, how have we been deceived for so long, and how can we get that information today?
Right. I have an email, all small caps, ZAAQAN1212 and I'll be glad to answer anyone's question after the program is over with. But one of the main things that they have used on our people is, number one, surprisingly, is Christianity. When you read the Bible, and when people have their own opinions, it's two different things. The Bible says one thing, people say another. when you read back in the past about how King David was, the likes of King David was, and how King Solomon was, you'll know that these guys were very vicious people as far as like their demeanor and their love towards the Most High. But in today's society, you know, you have black people wanting to call themselves a Muslim. You got people over here calling themselves a Baptist. You got people over here calling themselves Jehovah's Witness. You got a church down the street calling themselves the Seventh-day Adventists. But that's all divide and conquer. I mean, I'm not going to sit into social intelligence, you know, so that's all divide and conquer. And that's how the Puritans came over here and divided us up as a people. You know, you can't come together as a people when you have so many different divisions out here. And it worked. Actually, it worked. You know, some of the so-called holidays they have out here, like 4th of July, Mother's Day, Father's Day. These are some of the things that divided us up. You can't go into the Bible and find where the Heavenly Father wrote and said celebrate 4th of July or celebrate Mother's Day. Okay, you just can't do it. But there are laws, statutes, and commandments that are in the Bible, okay, that the Heavenly Father does tell us to follow.
Okay. Do we have a question?
Yeah, we have a question. Shirley in the chat is saying, since the Bible is the first Black world history book, should the Bible be taught in our schools? How can this be with the separation of church and state? And then she has another question, but first I'll let you.
That's a good question. Matter of fact, they made one of the biggest mistakes in taking the Bible out of the classes. That's one of the biggest mistakes. Immorality has gone down 1,000% here in America. Okay, with as far as the lifestyles that a lot of people lead, as far as like the indoctrination of what America want us to believe, as far as the illegal substances that are spewed. Look what happened the first weekend in June, if I may add this. There were 69 shootings in Chicago over the weekend, and 4 people got killed. Just yesterday, you had 43 shootings in Chicago, 7 people got killed. This is the type of stuff that goes on all year round, but it never gets any attention. But as soon as something happens in Orlando, as far as like the advertisement and as far as like, you know, something that's going to hit America in their pockets as far as like tourism, all of a sudden now the National Guard has to get called out. Now all of a sudden now, you know, the National Guard has to get called out, and it gets and genres all the attention. Blacks and Puerto Ricans been killing each other, and people been killing us for years and for centuries.
Do we have a call?
Yes, this is Shirley. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Shirley, I hear you. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. I am really, really excited with this author. This is really interesting conversation. I just want to make a comment. I'm not going to stay on long, but
thank you, Shirley.
You're quite welcome. It's so refreshing to see someone of your talents bringing this to us. I think some of the reasons why, and I want you to address this, I think some of the reasons why our children are lost today is simply because they've been denied their true history.
Right.
They don't have the pride while some of the history that we have is dark, it's scary, it's hurtful, and all of that, but we have greatness in our history.
Absolutely.
And it needs to be taught. So, you know, I would like for you to talk about that a little bit at some point in this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I know time is of the essence here a little bit, but I'm going to try to squeeze in as much as I can. What she said is she's absolutely correct. I have over 500 history books in my library, personally in my house. I have 6 books that William Shakespeare is a man of color. I put 2 of them inside my book. Okay, wow. Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, these are all black men. And this is something that I'm not making up. Okay, and one of the things that you just mentioned, Shirley, which you're right on the nose about, our people have no self-esteem. Okay, and I'm gonna throw this out there. You know, when our kids go to school and learn about American history, they become disenchanted because it's not about them. That's why our kids fail so much. Okay, because the history is not about them. You got black kids going to school and they're learning about George Washington chopped down a cherry tree. Okay, it has nothing to do with our history whatsoever. Okay, George Washington got wooden teeth. Okay, what the hell does that got to do with, you know, little so-called African American kids and black. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. That's the reason why our kids get so disenchanted and they come home with F's and D's, because the history isn't talking about them. But when you go back and research and you really thoroughly do research, you find out, yes, King Solomon is black. Shakespeare, yes, is a black man. Yes, Aristotle, the knights, Robin Hood is a black man. Okay, you find out all these things. Beethoven, black men. Okay, and contrary to belief, guess what, Shirley? They weren't Africans. They were Hebrew Israelites. Okay, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is one of the world best kept secrets. Okay, that the Vatican City knows about this. Okay, you have the popes and you have people that get sworn in on masonries. They know that the people that was brought over here to America as slaves, they know that they are the same children of Israel that served up under the Pharaoh, up under the hands of Egypt, and built the pyramids for Egypt. The same Israelites that was then during the time of Pharaoh and the Egyptian Empire that built up the Egyptian Empire are the same people that were sold over here to America as slaves. You can read about that in the book of Deuteronomy, 28th chapter, in the 68th verse.
Do we have another caller? Shirley, you still on?
I am, and I want to say one other thing,
Sure.
because I don't want to monopolize this, but I do want to say this, and it's kind of funny. You spoke of George Washington and his wooden teeth. Well, there's a lie right there. George Washington actually took the teeth out of slaves' mouths.
I was paraphrasing,
And
Shirley.
passionate. I got you. But I just want to throw that out there because this is the kind of stuff,
I understand.
when you talk about lies, this even knows a little lies.
You're right. Look,
He
Shirley.
took the teeth out of some of the slaves' mouths. If they had pretty teeth, you better not smile around George because you'd be in trouble.
Absolutely, Shirley. And look, Shirley, absolutely correct. And let me say this too. We don't have enough time in the year, okay, to go around and really critique the lies that America has actually spreaded. Here's another one. Look at Sir Isaac Newton. How you gonna sit up under a tree? You just finished drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels. You sat up under a tree, and all of a sudden, an apple falls on your head, and you discovered gravity. Gravity was here before man. Okay, Benjamin Franklin discovering electricity. Electricity is a force of nature from the Heavenly Father that He made. How do our people believe stuff like this? Easter bunnies, and bunny rabbits laying eggs, and bunny rabbits don't lay eggs; they have babies. So my thing is this: is that America has played a very cruel joke, okay, on our people to the point where they don't know where they're coming and going, and our people vicariously live their lives through the way America has critiqued it to them, and they vicariously live their lives through a reality show. That's another distraction of our people right there. While America is bombing and stealing and taking oil and brainwashing people and stealing money and sending our soldiers, our brothers and sisters over to Iraq to get killed, okay, they're over here lying and deceiving, okay, over here in America, basically just distraction and throwing distractions such as reality shows, drugs in our community. And a black man can't wake up and they can't see this to save their lives, man. I'm gonna tell you, Brother T, it's something wrong here, man.
So, Frank, let me ask you, just before we go, again, anybody that want to call into the show, anybody that feel like they're a rebel with a purpose or a cause, call into the show at 919-518-9773. We have Frank Jordan on the show today, and he's talking about his new book, 500 Years of American Deception. And in that, Frank, let me ask you this. How can they get this book? I think it's on Amazon.
Yes.
Could you tell us how to get in touch with you,
Right.
your social media, how we can get in touch with you, and how they can get their hands on this book?
Right, absolutely. Listen, my email address is all small caps ZAAQAN1212. It's the numbers at yahoo.com. And my book is available. Actually, I have a third book that's coming out next week called The Greatest Show on Earth. It's actually critiquing the way that the black people conduct themselves here in America as far as entertainment purposes, and actually selling their souls for $1. You can find my books on Amazon.com or Kindle.com, and trust me, it'll be the best $19.99 you've ever spent. I'm not in it for the money. I've gave out more books than I've sold, so I'm not in it for the money. What I'm in it for is to re-educate my people. Because is it important? Yes, it is important, because we've been brainwashed for so long and so many years. It's time the truth came out. And our people, you're going to find out also that you can't ignore this for too long. Okay, the truth is sitting us right in our face every day while we looking at Love and Hip Hop and while we're looking at the Atlanta Housewives. Okay, you got these prophecies in the Bible coming to pass every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. While a lot of people are partying, black men, black women want to turn up in clubs and want to go down to Miami for a bike rally. In Miami, they ain't gonna be getting too much business.
Do we got a call
anyway? But long story, but things are looking rapidly worse for America.
Frank, let me take this call. I think it's for you, and feel free to answer. Okay, caller.
Hi, my name is Kira, and I actually have had the opportunity to read Frank's books, and he's an amazing person. But the question that I wanted to put out there is, I'm a mother with, I guess now, 2 kids in college, and so they've gone to the next level of education, is how do we reach our young people? Because if I had to do it over again, I probably would homeschool my kids based on the public school system and I guess the shortcomings of exactly what you said earlier is they're teaching things that really won't help educate them to be independent, free thinkers, or almost to control the direction that they go so that their education is designed to control what they do in life. So I wanted my children to go to school to find an independent way to be self-employed versus to get a job and still hope that someone else employs them. So how do we reach children that it would make an impact on their lives long term so we create leaders?
Right. Good question, Kira. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. And thank you. I appreciate you. One of the things we have to do as adults is that it is very simple, Kira. We must not lie to our kids. That's one of the biggest things that I noticed that a lot of blacks and Latinos and West Indians do. We lie to our kids, okay, through the ways that America has raised us up. If you know something, if you want to homeschool your kids, that's great. That is great. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage homeschooling because, like I said earlier, if your kids are going to go to school and they're going to learn about Sir Isaac Newton and they open the book, they see George Washington, they close the book, they see Abraham Lincoln, they go to assemblies, they see Marilyn Monroe. In schools, they're not learning nothing about themselves. Anyway, so for you to re-educate your kids and just stress it the same way that America has pushed the lies and the deception on our kids and on us as adults, you got to push the truth on your kids as well too. Don't be ashamed. Okay, if your kids, either they're gonna love you or they're gonna hate you. Bottom line, truth is the truth. Okay, it stands by itself. Okay, either they're gonna love you or they're gonna hate you. But in the long run, they're gonna thank you for telling them the truth.
Okay, Frank, listen, I want you to share with the public how to get in touch with you again on social media, where they can find your book, and just kind of give us that insight again so we can go on. Is it Amazon?
Yes, sir.
And what about Barnes and Nobles?
Yes, sir.
Are you on Create Space?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those venues we can find Frank's book, 500 Years of American Deception. I say we need this book. And again, 500 Years of American Deception, it talks about all the deception that's been going on in America and how we need to wake up and can wake up.
Absolutely.
But again, the parents and the community have to be aware of what the lies are in order to give that information and knowledge to their kids. If they don't know, then certainly they can impart that to their children because they lack the knowledge. But what we're finding out now with the internet, Googling a lot of information, you can find these sources and you can find disinformation. It is out there. That information is out there. It can be found with a little research, a little thought. But we as a people need to, I think, fight the school systems to get our knowledge and information into the school system, fight the judicial system, and any other system that's holding us back. Don't be afraid to fight the system. Because
correct.
Otherwise, you'll keep operating in darkness, and operating in darkness, it's gonna continue to be the blind leading the blind. Those days should be in the past, but they're not. But listen, I want to say, Frank, thank you for coming to the show and sharing your new book with us. And then you got a book that's coming out next week. Can you tell us the name of that book again?
Yes, that book is called The Greatest Show on Earth. and the critiques, like I said, the entertainment side of our people, how it was in the past with minstrel shows, all the way up to today to guys like Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart. They're the modern day minstrel shows of today.
Frank, again, I want to thank you for coming on the show,
Thank
man.
you
And
for having me.
And again, when your new book comes out, I want you to give me a shout, come back to the show again.
Okay.
And let's talk about the new book. But right now, we do have 500 Years of American Deception. Frank, thank you for having for coming on the
thank
show.
You, Brother Terrence. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Listen, we have Traci Butterfly Dunston to be coming on next, and she has a new book out called Divine Influence. And I definitely want to talk with Traci today about the book Divine Influence. She's going to share that with you all this evening. So stay tuned. And anybody that want to call into the show, that number is 919-518-9773. If you are a rebel with a purpose, a rebel with a cause, or a rebel on a mission, feel free to call into the show. We look forward to taking calls. And again, I'll be talking to Traci Butterfly Dunston. Her new book is Divine Influence. Traci, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Terrence, and yourself?
I'm great. Thanks for having you on the show this evening. I want to jump right into this book, Divine Influence. I've read half of it. I hadn't read the whole book. It got a lot of impactful information in it. But listen, Traci, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about what inspired you to write the book?
What inspired me to write the book was just to operate out of my creative flow. Writing poetry is just normal to me. It helps to express who I am, my thoughts. It brings up healing and a comfort. I just enjoy writing poetry.
Okay. Listen, and the reason I asked because with some of the poetry that, from me reading your book, there was a pattern in your book of talking about healing, and so you have over 100 poems in the book, but a lot of that is talking about healing. So how did you come to write about healing in such a poetic way? I mean, every page I read, it was enticing. But in the theme of the poems, I know there's a theme of healing in there, in men and women, in children, in individuals. When you're talking about self-esteem and self-worth, there's a healing that you're talking about. How did you bring that point to all of your poems? Not every single one, but a lot of your poems do have that healing theme. Can you share a little bit of that with us?
Sure, Terrence. I just think that it flows naturally. I think that when we connect to our authentic selves, that we begin to flow out of the gifts that we have on the inside of us. And the thing to do is just to let the gifts free. And when you operate out of a spirit of wisdom and you just pen to paper and you just keep writing as the creative juices continue to flow.
Okay.
They want to come out.
How long have you been writing? Poetry?
I've been writing poetry for over maybe 10 years, off and on.
Okay, and this is your first book?
This is my first book, yes.
Okay. So is there another book in the works right now?
Oh, yes. I've completed a 21-day devotional guide for women, and that book helps to build self-esteem, confidence as well. You know, I really like talking to women to help them understand that they are valuable. And a lot of women don't realize that you can be valuable, you can understand your worth just being your natural self. A lot of people think that they need a lot of add-ons, but, you know, you was gifted and created in the essence that you are, and that is enough. And, you know, just my goal to just express that wherever I go.
Traci, I mean, and I've met you over the past couple of years, and that's what I've known you to do. But again, anyone that want to call into the show, give us a call at 919-518-9773. We have Traci Butterfly Dunston in the house this evening, and we do want to, she's ready to take any questions that the public may have. Also, Traci, can you tell us where they can, where we can find your book right now, or is it on Amazon?
Yes, it's available on Amazon.com. Also, you can contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you just look for Traci with an I, Butterfly with an I, Traci Butterfly Dunston.
So how did you come up with that Traci Butterfly Dunston? Where's the butterfly come in? Where's that come in at? How does that resonate with Traci Dunston?
Oh, Terrence, it's just a process. It's called life and discovering who you are on this journey and realizing that at one point I was in a cocoon and I thought I knew who I was. But as I began to blossom out of that cocoon and coming into my own right and understanding the powers that I possess as who I am and as who God created me to be, and once I realized I was free and I can fly and be what I wanted to be, I'm a butterfly, and that's how it is.
All right, Traci, let me ask you this. Now, there was one poem that I read in your book about they must die, and when I first heard it, I was like, "What's she saying? They must die." And when I read it, then I understood the point you was talking about the ego. And can you share a little bit about that poem? It kind of resonated with. I thought it was strong.
Well, certainly the ego and pride is our biggest enemy. You know, we live in a life in such an illusion where the world just continues to operate out of the ego, and the ego reminds me of Humpty Dumpty. Eventually, you know, the ego is big, it's sitting on a wall, it has king horses, it has king men, but eventually that ego is gonna fall off the wall and it's gonna crack, and there's not gonna be anyone around to put the ego back together again. And if we're not careful and pay attention to who we are and look deep inside of us and remain humble, pride and ego is just setting us up for a fall. You know, it whispers to us, it speaks to us, it encourages us to just continue to swell and swell. And if we're not careful, we'll damage everything that we have, the people that are around us, and we don't even realize that we're living in a life of an illusion, which is the life of a lie. So the ego and pride must die, because if you never allow ego and pride to die, you'll never operate in your authentic self. Your authentic being is so much more powerful. It's so much more loving. It has so much wisdom. But ego and pride, you just be foolish, and you just be spinning your wheels in the mud.
I hear you, ego and pride, and that does says a lot to, I guess, mankind in general. I think that's probably the downfall of humanity, that ego and pride and jealousy. And you speak of these things in your book, but also you have a poem about kids, and in that poem you're not talking about the ego and the pride. You've moved on to the lightheartedness of the kids. I guess the kids are innocence.
Oh,
And I think you
yes.
speak of the innocence in children. Can you share a little bit of that poem? Where did you pull that from?
Well, Terrence, all of them come from within. And when we think about kids in their holistic state, they're just brilliant, they're fascinating, they're loving, they're kind, they're so innocent, they're so easy to be entreated. You know, they just make our eyes sparkle. They're just magnificent. Kids, they are so brilliant, they're talented. You know, the list could go on and on about kids, and they just bring a sense of warmth to my heart.
Okay, again, you can call in on the show right now at 919-518-9773. We have Traci Butterfly Dunston in the house today, and she has her new book, Divine Influence. Again, she said the book can be found on Amazon.com. Also, your book is on Create Space, and is it with Barnes and Nobles as well?
That is correct, Terrence.
Okay.
You answer that. Yeah, when he holds it up, it's transparent because it's
Divine Influence. Traci, what's your favorite poem in the book? If you have to pick one that resonates with you more than others on a regular or a daily basis, which one would you stands out to you? And I know you got many. I mean, you got over 100. So,
My favorite poem is called "Integrity is His Brand."
can we get some of that?
I can give you a little bit of that, Terrence.
Thank you.
Integrity is His brand. I hear Him calling unto me. The strength of His character is also possessing me. Courage and wisdom has been placed in His right hand. As He unfolds the plan in His left hand, integrity is what I perceive. Sweat dripping from His brow, representing bravery and dedication as being man, she can trust in Him as her protector and friend. Integrity is His brand, and that's just a small portion of it. But that is my favorite poem. I think that integrity is so important. I think it's the most attractive peace that a man could ever possess, and that is to have integrity. So that's my favorite poem. And then I had another one that's called Come Forth, O Deep One, Come Forth, O Truth. Shout from the mountaintops of hope and prosperity. Let your voice be heard in all over the regions of this world. Come forth, the earth is calling unto you. And that is my second favorite because that's the message that I try to convey wherever I go. You know, that we all have a gift, we all have purpose. So just come forth in that purpose. Come forth and let the earth know who you are. Leave your footprints here while you have the time. Stop waiting on anyone. Know that you are powerful. Know that you are gifted. Know that you are talented. Know that the earth is really waiting on you. So come forth. That's my second favorite poem, Terrence.
Traci, Amnon has a question for you.
A quick one.
Yes.
Does that mean that a woman does not have to have integrity? Only men?
Oh, I think everyone should have
Okay.
integrity.
All right.
Everyone.
So, but that just resonated from let me ask you this, Traci. It sounds like now there's a theme. I know there's a theme of healing that I hear in your messages in your poem, but also there's a biblical theme that I'm hearing also that resonated with me when I was reading your poems. That's not by accident. That's a little bit of who you are.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I believe that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. I'm one with God. I understand my purpose. I understand where my creative flow comes from. It comes from God. He has gifted me. He continues to show me who I am, and I embrace it. I don't run from it. And I live a life of balance.
I also know too, Traci, about you that you're involved in a lot of activities in the community. I know there's several that you are involved in that I'm aware of, but can you share a little bit about those community involvement pieces that you're involved in? From, I know the Divergent piece, and well, just share several of the ones that you're involved in right now. You're involved in a lot.
Yes, the Divergent is called PWG, Divergent Group, which means plant, water, grow. And Divergent means thinking outside the box. And we know that we live in a world that is founded upon a lot of systems. Well, systems don't always work for all people. So Divergent means, there's more than one way to an answer. Somebody may say 2 + 2 is 4. Somebody might say 2 times, 4, and you get the same answer. The main important thing is arriving to the answer the best way that you can arrive to the answer. You don't have to do it like I do it. I don't have to do it like you do it. But we're here to live this life, to experience what God has given us. So let's have fun while we do it. Let's not feel like that we are controlled in the process, because life is all about being free. And that's the power that, we have on the inside. And a lot of times we often look outside for what it is that we desire. But most of all, we have to look inside of us, because your true treasures lie on the inside of you. We want to obtain the American dream, but really, in order to attain your dreams, you have to look inside of who you are, to find out who you are, to discover what that dream is. And if you never take the time, if you never go on pause, you will continue to just be like beating at the wind, and you won't get anywhere. You may even achieve some things, but you still might not be satisfied in that achievement, because you haven't tapped into your authentic self. So that's very important. And I had to discover that myself. I didn't know this 10 years ago. I could say that I began to tap into my authentic self, I guess maybe 5 years ago. And I'm enjoying this journey of discovering who I am.
Okay. Look, can you tell people how to get to that Divergent group? I know it's a local group that meets a couple of times a month. Can you share a little bit more about how and when do it take place?
Sure. The meeting takes place every other Wednesday night. It's located on 106 Justice Street in Lewisburg, North Carolina. And you can always reach out to me on Facebook. We always have postings about the meeting time and the topic. And that group is really about empowering sessions. The group is designed to empower the community, because if we allow ourselves to be empowered, then that's when the communities around us can change. The communities around us will not ever be able to change if we ourselves don't continue to evolve in a higher state of understanding, in a higher state of awareness, in a higher state of love, and a higher state of knowledge. So all those things are important. So that's why we call it an empowerment session. And the public is welcome. We welcome everyone to come.
And I know you also y'all have a poetry. What's that? The group that you all have is it's a poetry group that meets monthly.
Yes, we have a open night live poetry event that takes place every third Friday night in the same location, 106 Justice Street, Lewisburg, and that is open to the community. It is free. Whatever your gift, whatever your talent is, please come free. Feel free to come and be a part of the Poetry Live open mic night. You know, we're just here in the community, and we want the community to know that we are here and that we have some events, and we're not asking for anything other than for you to show up, display your gift, or if you would just like to show up and be a part. You know, we are here with open arms. We're saying, community, we love you, and we are not asking for anything, but we're trying to give the community something.
So when will there be another poetry that group meet again and have fun, hang out, and I hear y'all was making a lot of noise.
Oh.
So when will y'all meet again? When will they have?
We'll be meeting this Friday night, actually, and we do hang out. We do make noise. We have a lot of fun. We have poets coming from Raleigh. We have local poets, Pierre Perry. We have Rosalie Holmes. They all have produced poetry books. We have a songstress, Joanna Davis, who produced her very own CD. We have a lot of people. We have Thomas Perry, who is a awesome musician. He comes, he do the sounds, he plays the music. We have food. We just have a good time. I mean, just come and be a part of it. It's Friday night at 8:00.
Y'all you be getting it in. But now I know you also, Traci, like I said, you're a busy woman. I think you're the hardest working woman in the area, I think. I know you're also involved with some domestic violence work, and you're also involved with a barber college. So can you share a little bit about those two, separate entities that you're involved in again?
Certainly, Terrence. The Barber College is located in Henderson, North Carolina. The name of it is Jeter Barber College. And I can tell you that I love it. I love it because we get a chance to make a difference in lives. We have so many people to come through this program successfully. We have had 5 successful graduations where people have went on and obtained their state professional license. And we have a couple of students that have already went into the second realm of entrepreneurship by owning their own establishments. And I just love Jeter Barber College because it really makes a difference in your life, even for those people that think that they have been counted out. You may have a felon. Come and see us. You never know by your visit, come to see us, how your whole life could change. And we just don't teach barbering, but we teach life principles. I love it. I feel like being the director of Jeter Barber College, this is what I was born for, because I'm not giving people a fish, but we teaching them how to fish and how to sustain their own way of living. And that is powerful. And that is what I love. That is purpose. That is ministry. Whatever name you want to put on it, it's powerful, and I love it. And the domestic violence piece, yes, that is true. I am associated with domestic violence. I am I do intake for domestic violence, and being in that setting, making a difference in someone's life that has been abused, being there to be able to counsel with them, to embrace them with a hug, and to give them motivation, to let them know that, you're just coming through here, but you're coming through here to gain a power and a strength to go on and live a happy life. Come here and get healed and get the resources that you need. We're here. There's a hotline that you can call, the domestic violence hotline. You never know what advocate you may get, but just know, community, that we're here. We're here to make a difference, and that's what it's all about for me. That's why I was born. That's my purpose.
All right. That's powerful.
And my phone number is 919-939-8329.
All right, anybody that want to call into the show, you can call in at 919-518-9773. We have Traci Butterfli Dunston today, and she was sharing her book, Divine Influence, which is on Amazon.com. It's on Create Space, and also you can go to Barnes & Nobles and pick up a copy. But also, can you tell us again, Traci, a little bit about how to get in touch with you through social media, where we can find you at? Any event that you have coming up where you will be promoting your book or sharing your book with others anytime soon?
Social media, again, I'm on Facebook, and you can find me on all these social media sites, and that's Traci with an I, Traci, and then that's Butterfli with an I, not an L, not a Y, but Traci Butterfli Dunston, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn as well, and also I have a YouTube channel as well. And also you can find me at Judah Barber College. The number there is 252-430-1633, and we also have a website as well. And I have a website myself with Wix.com, and that's Traci Butterfli Dunston again. If you want to find me, just look up Traci Butterfli Dunston. That's with 2 I's, so you can find me real easy.
Now, can we go to your website and order your book from your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So we can do that. Again, Traci, listen, I appreciate having you on the show, and hopefully you'll come back again. But also, before we wrap it up, I do want to ask you again, in talking about the divine influence, there's a lot of poems, and it speaks of a lot of healing. But now I want to know, do you tie your books into the work that you're doing, say at the Women's Shelter? Are they able to read your books? Are you able to share your books with them? And if you have, had that process helped them to heal?
Yes, my book is available at the Women's Shelter. That matter of fact, someone has purchased my book, and it is a book of healing. And even while I'm at the Women's Shelter, there's always encouragement. My book is who I am. So if I'm speaking my book. If you're reading my book, then that's me speaking. I believe that I'm holistic, that I'm one with everything. So when you meet me, and if it was 5 years ago, and when you see me again 10 years from that 5 years, you're still going to meet the same person. Even I'm thinking about when as a director at Judah Barber College, when the students first come in for enrollment, and I tell them that I'm the director and I'm their number one cheerleader, because it's my job to make sure that they complete this program successfully. So that's who I am. No matter what I'm attached to, no matter what I'm connected to, I want to make sure that people succeed in whatever it is that they're putting their energy towards, because it's what they desire. So we should have the things that we desire if we put forth the effort to make it happen. So if you need a cheerleader, then that's who I am. I might not can cheer for the Redskins. I may not can cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys, but I can be a life coach / cheerleader for you, for anybody that has a goal that they're trying to accomplish, because no man is an island, and we don't live unto ourselves. We are all connected, whether we choose to believe it or not. But listen to me today, we are all connected, and it takes everyone working together for a better outcome for each and every one of us that exists in this world.
Okay. And Traci, on that note, I'm going to change the subject just a little bit, but it's still along those lines. Before you came in, we were talking about the shootings that took place over the weekend at the club in Orlando, Florida, and there was about 50 people that were killed in the club, LGBTQ community, but also there were about another 50 that were shot. What were your thoughts when you heard about that? And I mean, what's going on with these mass shootings?
But Terrence, I really don't know what's going on with these mass shootings, other than the only thing I could say is that, we need more life coaches. We need more positive people. We need to be able to cause people to evolve into their greater self. which goes back to what I stated earlier. The community will never change unless we as individuals change. And my heart goes out to, the survivors. My heart goes out to the family, but not only to that mass shooting that took place in Florida, but the people that get killed every day. There certainly is, an issue that needs to be resolved, and these issues need to be resolved within the individual. So there's nothing that we can to my thinking. There's nothing that we can really pinpoint as to why these things happen, because the thought first starts in the individual mind. So we as a people, we need to come together collectively and, and create some type of proactive measures. And it doesn't always center around more laws, but community efforts, reaching humanity. Not be so systematic, but we're human. So let's reach the heart and the minds of the people that live here in this earth. And I think that we'll see a decrease in crime across the board, not just shooting, but crime takes place every day. But it starts in the mind and the hearts of the individual. And why people do the things that they do, I don't know. Everybody has a story.
So true. Traci, before we wrap it up, I want to try to get one more question in. And it's not necessarily a question, but when we spoke about purpose and collective, humanity collectively, but I have my thoughts of what purpose is all about is your spiritual identity. When I think of a person's purpose, I'm thinking of spiritual identity. And some people look at purpose as something different. How does purpose resonate with you? And do you see it as a spiritual identity? Because a lot of times we talk about purpose, we talk about our missions, and we talk about our causes that we fight for. But a lot of people use those in the same, like one in the same. Your mission and your purpose is the same. I see a mission as something that you choose to take on a mission. And you've taken on about 4 or 5 missions right now that you spoke about today. I see those as missions. But you also spoke about purpose. And I see purpose as spiritual identity. So how do you see purpose different from your mission? And you said that you felt like your purpose was, I guess, just the giving of yourself to a large extent. Can you speak to that before we get ready to close out, and just give us a little bit more before we let you go? We try to get all the traces.
Sure, Terrence. Purpose to me is just who you are. And you'll never understand your purpose until you understand who you are. And we was born in a family. We were shaped in that family. We took on that family ideas. We took on the community ideas. We took on the school teachers' ideas. We took on the laws. We took on all those things, and those things formed and shaped us. But that may not necessarily be who you really are. So that's why I always point the individual back to themselves on the inside, taking time to discover who you are, and then you'll understand your purpose. And your purpose, to me, speaks greater than any mission. Your purpose is the thing that you will do for free. The purpose is the thing that keep you moving it, even when you feel like giving up, even when you want to throw in a towel, even when it's hard, because fulfilling your purpose is not hard. Fulfilling destiny is not it's not easy, but you have to keep on. And that purpose on the inside of you is your motivator. It'll push you, it'll pull you, it'll wake you up in the middle of the night. Purpose speaks. It speaks really loud when you understand it. There may become times you find yourself like, man, this is just too hard for me. But purpose of, it'll just give you what you need. So the thing that keeps driving you, understand that that's probably your purpose. And you can know the difference between purpose and a mission, because, a mission could be for 6 months, could be for a year, could be for 5 years. We did that. We completed that. It was successful. And then we move on to the next mission. But your purpose, it'll be a life-driven aspiration.
All right, Traci, listen, we appreciate having you on today. That was more than most informative, but it was, I just had a spiritual lesson here today. So I'm feeling I'm feeling real spiritual right now, and from reading your poems to just listening that you talk today and the things that you are doing and the things that you've shared with us, it is uplifting. And I think if more people got involved in some of the things that you shared with us today, because you look at how you can help and serve, and I think the more that we do help and serve, then the more that we take humanity to the next level. But like you said, it started with the individual, and the individual looking at their missions and their purpose and doing what they're called to do. A lot of people don't connect to that, and I'm saying I think a lot of us are disconnected, and we need to get connected to our inner selves and do more inner work from the inside. And I think that may start with spiritual teachings. And I think if the families, the parents, and the community have more spiritual teachings, then they can impart that to the younger generation, and then they'll be born into that. But it's disconnect. And I think with the disconnect, then that lets anything in that's not necessarily of mankind. It could be, it'd be coming in from all directions. We got crazy mass shootings. We got intimate partner homicide. We got black on black crime, white on white crime. I mean, just all sorts of crimes all over the world. But I think it's just that disconnect with the spiritual man. And like you said earlier, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we have to get back to that spirituality of humanity. And that comes back to love.
Yes.
I think love conquers all and love heals all. And on that note, again, I want to say this is Rebels with a Purpose, and we're on every Tuesday afternoon at 2 till 3. Traci, again, I appreciate you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to share with the public about how to get in touch with you and where you'll be, any events that you got going on coming up anytime soon?
Thank you for having me, Terrence. And again, we will have our Poetry Live this Friday night, beginning at 8 p.m., 106 Justice Street, Lewisburg, North Carolina. And the thing that I would like to leave is that love causes everything to grow. So if you want increase in your life, continue to evolve and give love, and your whole life will change for the better.
All right, I appreciate you guests for listening in this evening, and I want to thank again our special guest today, Traci Dunston, and also earlier we had Frank Jordan, two powerful guests that came in this afternoon. Thanks. We'll be on again next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I want to leave you with live, love, laugh, and enjoy. You only have so many tomorrows, so enjoy today. Thanks. Take care.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.